Gotta see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can go on? While you see it your way.
Welcome back to GOP Friday, right here on Butler on Business, biz1190.com, butleronbusiness.com. On the phone, we have Red Momentum Strategy Zone, Mr. Chris Marola. How are you?
Good. I didn't know today was called GOP Friday.
In your honor.
Well,
it's usually
yeah, go ahead, Joey.
It's usually Entrepreneur Friday, but we don't have an entrepreneur besides Alan in the studio, and everybody knows his story, so we thought you'd be more interesting right now.
Nobody knows my story.
Ooh, mysterious.
Yeah. All right, so
I did start my own company, so I guess you could call me a kind of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But you didn't build that.
No, you didn't build that. You had a lot of help building that. Chris, now, why is it that it's only the Democrats stealing the elections? Don't the Republicans ever steal them?
Dude, that's a great question. I do not recall a situation where Republicans have been accused of stealing an election that was legitimate. I mean, they've tried to say that in 2000 with Bush, but in all actuality, it was the media.
Yeah, I remember Jesse Jackson saying Bush was not elected. He was selected.
Of course, yeah. But we know what happened. The media tried to steal the election for Gore. What happened was the media announced, I think it was like 8:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on election night in 2000, that Gore had won. Well, the northern panhandle of Florida is an hour behind. They're in the central time zone. So it's 7:05. They're hearing this. So all these people said, well, what's the use showing up at the polls? Bush lost. It's been estimated that there were as many as 10,000 votes that would have gone for Bush in 2000 that did not go for him because the news said that Gore won. So they suppressed, the media did, as many as 10,000 votes. Obviously, if Bush wins by 10,500 instead of 500 votes, it's not as much an issue, and, no one thinks that, Florida was stolen for the Republicans. So it's the media, and it does seem like it's the left that engages in this. Here's my theory on that. You've heard me talk about moral relativism, that liberalism is built on this idea of moral relativism, which is the belief that there is no absolute truth, there is no absolute right or wrong, that you kind of make up your own rules as you go along. And that's why they basically wing it. I think that's why laws and ethics mean nothing to many on the left, because to them, you can create your own law because there is no absolute standard of right and wrong, so they wing it. And I think that's why Republicans, though not perfect, there are scandals in the Republican Party.
There have been a couple.
There have been, there's no doubt. But I think you see less of them because the conservative worldview is not built on moral relativism. There is a certain belief in an absolute right or wrong, in an absolute truth that governs the universe, whether that be God, whether that be ethics, whether it be the Constitution. There's a greater respect for law and order and ethics in the conservative platform within the conservative belief. I mean, look, in the convention, the Democrats took God and support of Israel out of their platform, shoved it back in, and booed as this was taking place. So clearly, there is a disconnect between what liberals believe and conservatives believe concerning ethics and morality. So I think that's at the heart of why this occurs.
What is it about the Democratic message, though, that attracts the dead to that party?
Well,
brains.
That's great. In that article with the American Thinker.
No, I mean, I'm being serious. I may have told you before the election, this buddy of mine's mother was a lifelong Democrat, and she died, I think, about 8 years ago, and she's been voting for the Democrats ever since. And
right.
It's something about dying and that Democratic voting bloc. I've never understood that one.
Well, here it is. Yeah, you're right. Going back to that article in the American Thinker, they explain how they have Democrat operatives on the ground. They call them block captains. And these block captains get a lay of the land, and they have an idea of who's dead, who recently died, who has not been purged from the voter list, and they report that to their party machine, and so somebody goes in and impersonates that person. If there's no voter ID laws, that's easy to do. Or absentee ballot. You get an absentee ballot in the name of Joe Schmo, who just passed away 3 months ago. His information has not been purged yet from the voter database, so you vote in his name. And this is how they do this. It's a ground, kind of a groundswell of fraud, and so that's one of the ways they do it. Take Ohio, for example. Obama only won the state of Ohio by 100,000 votes. Well, in a state that with millions of people, it doesn't take much fraud to get you 100,000 votes. Basically there were 1.6 million inactive voters in Ohio. So all you would need to get that 100,000 votes out of 1.6 million inactive voters is about 6%. So that's pretty easy to formulate if you really work at it.
Is the GOP going to do anything during the next 2 years to try to appeal more to the dead?
No, because again, conservatism is built on a belief that there is an absolute right or wrong, a moral, law that governs that, and that we should not break that. So moral relativism is not part of the recipe.
We're going to give you eternal life. Just go ahead and get out there November 6th, 2016. Vote for Joe Biden.
Hey, do you watch The Walking Dead?
No, but certainly the members of Acorn certainly go looking for them, do they not?
Hey, I think they broke the record for some of their shows lately. It's on AMC on Sunday nights.
Right. Well, check this out.
It's filmed here in Atlanta.
Now, that I didn't know.
Yeah, man. You get to see the zombies walking around downtown Atlanta. Right now, they're holed up in the Atlanta prison system.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When Acorn was exposed a few years ago, something had to replace it because there's hundreds of organizations that make up Acorn. So the umbrella organization, Acorn, went away, and they replaced it with Organizing for America, which is being run right out of the DNC here in Washington. It's amazing. And Obama's organization took the place of Acorn as the umbrella organization. And these people who work for them are paid based on how many people they can register. So they'll go out there and they'll just fake names up, make names up and just fake them. And we found this to be the case. We found people being registered to vote in the names of NFL players who don't live, in those places. Terry Bradshaw being registered in Virginia. And
I met Terry one time. Nice guy.
He really is. He's funny, actually.
He's very funny, and he's a dog lover.
And he's a horse lover too. My wife likes that a lot too. Well, did you know that one of the registrations that caught people's attention this election was someone actually registered a person to vote by the name of Adolf Hitler?
Really?
Yeah. Well, come on. That's obviously a fraud. No person in their right mind names their kid Adolf Hitler.
No, I mean, hold on. Hitler's dead.
Right.
So you got that.
Right.
This immigration problem, you got that angle. I could see that happening.
Yeah, you can see the dead immigrant. Yeah, right. That's good.
Oh, yeah, dead immigrant voting for Obama. Yeah.
Right. Well, let me ask you this: how much time we got left on this segment?
We got to go, but go ahead. I'll give you another minute.
Okay, here's the deal. My wife and I experienced this in 2008 in Alexandria, Virginia. We went to basically go to the grocery store, and there were people camped outside trying to register you to vote with an organization called Project Vote, which was funded by Acorn. And they were talking to me, and I just kind of played along because I wanted to see what they were doing, because I know that they're involved in a lot of this fraud. And out of the corner of my eye, about 20, 25 yards away, were these two Obama girls watching me. And the longer I talked with the Project Vote people, the closer they came to the point where they got right next to my wife and I and were ready to sign us up. Well, there's not supposed to be coordination between Project Vote and the Obama campaign, but clearly there was, and that's how they were working it. So I just kind of played along with their, sales points and their talking points in order to see what would happen. And sure enough, the Obama people converged on me thinking I was a voter that they could register.
Well, now, wonder what made them think that.
Well, because I stood there and talked with them and asked questions, and I didn't tell them that I was already registered. I just asked more questions, and they thought, hey, here's 2 more people we can register. But, see, that's how they work it. They get these benign-looking people to sit outside the grocery store and say, hey, do you want to register to vote? It's, we're nonpartisan. And then as soon as you register to vote, boom, the Obama people standing 20 yards away swoop down and suck you right in.
Chris, we got to go, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Back on the schedule for regularity.
You got it. Thanks so much.
This is Alan Butler. We're going to have Chris Ann Hall talk about the articles